your head flown 3 blocks, L keep rappers hearts.
I get home and my lady was like, yo, I came in the house and she was teary-eyed and she was like, L. So the first thing that came to mind was finesse. Both L's.
Yeah.
I was like, Ness? And she was like, nah. L. Big L.
His death was unsolved to this day. I mean, do you know what happened? Do you have any idea how he got?
No idea.
One of the biggest unsolved mysteries in hip-hop history is what really happened to Big L. If you were into hip-hop in the 90s, his name was everywhere. Big L was a Harlem legend on the rise. But his life was cut short in a shooting that many believe was a setup by someone he grew up with, Gerard Woodley.
Gerard Woodley is the alleged of Big L.
All right.
But that's just the beginning. Now let's be clear, Big L wasn't just another rapper trying to make it. He was a lyrical mastermind, a true heavyweight in the 90s New York hip-hop scene, known for his razor-sharp wordplay and raw storytelling.
Yeah, I felt like, when I came out, I sold a nice amount of records.
Big L was treacherous. Like, now you want to go back to like those earlier slang of hip-hop.
But his journey wasn't all smooth. His career was filled with drama, from street conflicts to rap rivalries, all of which became a part of his legend. And trust, his career was full of highs and lows, feuds, street drama, and moments of pure rap brilliance. From rumors about setting Mace up for a robbery.
I got to the block late and I seen him low. I told him, like, what's up? He like, yo, Big L just tried to get us robbed.
Get me robbed.
To going bar for bar with Jay-Z in an iconic rap battle.
Jay had pulled up and Sean Arnold was like, yo, Big L right over there right now, what's up? So I was like, what's up? Let's go.
Big L was always in the mix. After Big L was gunned down on February 15th, 1999 in Harlem, the streets whispered that his death was payback for something tied to his older half-brother, Leroy Big Lee Finney.
His brother did a lot of dirt out there, and rest in peace to his brother. His brother's dead too.
Oh, he's dead also, okay.
He been died, so.
But that's just scratching the surface. Let's get into it. Right in the heart of Harlem, where the streets buzzed with life and hip-hop's heartbeat was just starting to pulse, Lamont Coleman, who the world would later know as Big L, took his first steps into the world that would define him. Born on May 30th, 1974, he grew up surrounded by a tight-knit community where love, struggle, and the sounds of a musical revolution filled the air.
I knew that he was nice just from listening to him rhyme. You understand what I'm saying?
Harlem in the 70s and 80s was a place of extremes, hardship and hustle, resilience and raw talent. Lamont's mother, Gilda Terry, was a force to be reckoned with. Holding it down as a single mom raising 3 kids after his father, Charles Davis, left when he was still young. Money wasn't easy to come by, but the family had something stronger, each other. His older brothers, Donald and Leroy, played a huge role in shaping him, giving him a first-hand education on the realities of life in Harlem. And while they didn't have wealth, they were rich in love, community, and the kind of street wisdom you couldn't learn in school. Gilda found ways to keep the family afloat, even dabbling in unlicensed gambling, something common in the neighborhood, to make ends meet. But for young Lamont, his true escape and passion came through music. The moment everything changed. He was 12 years old when Donald got them tickets to see Run DMC live. The energy, the beats, the sheer power of hip-hop, it was like a spark that lit a fire in him. From that moment, rap wasn't just something he listened to. It was something he had to be a part of. He started in the streets of Harlem, where freestyle battles weren't just a pastime. They were a battleground. These weren't just rhymes. They were raw, unfiltered stories of life as he knew it. And Lamont, he was a natural.
Dude was a genius. He was a genius in psychology, and he was the youngest, but he could get in your psyche.
His flow was sharp, his wordplay was unmatched, and his storytelling pulled no punches. As his skills grew, so did his reputation. Then came the moment that set everything in motion. During an autograph session, he crossed paths with Lord Finesse, a heavyweight in the hip-hop scene.
I was doing an autograph signing in this record store on 125th Street called Rockin' Well. This man, he comes in, but he,
That meeting was the spark that turned Lamont into Big L. a name that would soon carry weight far beyond Harlem. But it wasn't until too long before the unthinkable happened. On February 15th, 1999, Big L's death hit the hip-hop world like a gut punch. Sudden and shocking, and far too soon. The same Harlem streets that shaped him became the scene of his tragic end, as he was shot 9 times in a drive-by near his childhood home on 139th Street and Lenox Avenue. It was a devastating loss, not just for his family and friends, but for hip-hop as a whole. He wasn't just another rapper, he was a force, a visionary whose potential felt limitless, and his MO there left behind more questions than answers.
It's just that you a person like Big L, which is a good person.
In the aftermath, theories swirled about why it happened. Some believed it was a case of mistaken identity, that the real target was his older brother Lee, who had a reputation and some enemies of his own.
His brother was the man, and his brother did a lot of dirt out there, and rest in peace to his brother. His brother's dead too.
He's dead.
It's just that you a person like Big L, which is a good person. But you know the name, how the street game go. If I can't get you, I'm gonna get your brother, your cousin, somebody that you love.
Others speculated that Big L's own ties to the streets might have played a role, suggesting his past may have caught up with him. But without clear evidence and with witnesses reluctant to speak up, the case quickly hit a dead end. Gerard Woodley, who was once tied to the death of Big L and had a long history of legal trouble, met a violent end when he was shot in KVED in Harlem. Cops found 3.25 caliber shell casings at the scene, but so far, there's no clear motive. Woodley was shot in the head right outside his home on West 139th Street near Lenox Avenue just before midnight.
Even the guy that did something to Big L, allegedly, you know, I heard that he was around, you know, at some points going.
He was rushed to Harlem Hospital, but it was too late. He was pronounced dead. No arrests have been made, and there's no word on a suspect yet. Back in the 90s, Woodley had been arrested for 3 separate dares, but he never got convicted. One of those cases was linked to a beef with Big L's brother, but the charges didn't stick due to lack of evidence. He was also picked up for 2 other homicides in January 1996 and February 1990, but again, nothing came of it. His criminal record was long, filled with violent offenses, but the last time he did time was a 4-year stretch for a weapons charge, totally unrelated to Big L's case. He got out in September 2015 and, according to word on the street, was trying to keep a low profile. Still, rumors were swirling that he was involved in some shady business in New Jersey, which could have put a target on his back. Despite his past, his mom described him as a loving son, and his brother, Thomas Riley, even suggested that a Big L fan might have been behind his M-Day, since there had been a lot of online talk accusing him of being responsible for Big L's death.
Gerard Woodley is the alleged killer of Big L.
All right.
And
his family stood by him, saying he had a close bond with Big L and even kept in touch with the rapper's family long after his death. His aunt, Rosa Towns, couldn't believe he was gone, calling him a pretty good guy. Investigators, however, don't think his there was revenge for Big L. They point out that if someone wanted payback, they had over 20 years to do it. Now Woodley's family is left mourning him, especially his 28-year-old daughter, who has to deal with losing her father in such a violent way. Big L's death wasn't just a tragic loss, it became a symbol of the harsh realities of life in the inner city. The what-if surrounding his career only made his legacy more profound. This was a rapper who could go bar for bar with the best, someone who had all the makings of a superstar, but never got to fully realize his potential. And that's what makes his impact so powerful. He did enough in his short time to leave a mark that still influences hip-hop today.
Check it. Do I got slugs for snitches? No love for putting
One of those moments that people still talk about, the kind of thing that gets passed down like hip-hop folklore, was Big L's legendary rap battle with Jay-Z. Because this wasn't just 2 dudes trading bars for fun. This was a full-on lyrical showdown, a straight-up clash of titans before they were even titans. Proving to everyone who was paying attention that these two were on a whole different level, that they were destined for something bigger than just the underground, that they were walking a path toward greatness, whether the world knew it yet or not.
Round you find my silk boxes in your mother's hamper. Cops
realized that was a thing until like people kept bringing it up and like talking about it, and I was like,
And it didn't just stop there. Big L wasn't just battling Jay-Z, he was also putting him on, introducing him to the Stretch Armstrong and Bobito show in '95, where the two of them ended up delivering one of the most jaw-dropping freestyle sessions ever. The kind of moment that cemented both of them as future legends before they even had the industry backing to prove it. Lord Finesse, the man who discovered Big L and pulled him into the Digging in the Crates crew, always looked back on that battle with admiration, saying it wasn't just competition, it was respect, it was hip-hop at its purest form. It was history happening right in front of them, even if they didn't fully realize it yet.
People don't know Jay was on Big L's first album, The Graveyard.
Yeah.
That's right.
So the love was...
To S the Best went to, Rich Nice went to,
Wow.
Gangsta G from...
admired Jay, and Jay loved L, so
But Big L's story, like so many others in hip-hop, was never just about the music. It was about the grind, the struggle, the dream of making it big while dealing with all the weight that came with it. The fine line between staying true to yourself and figuring out how to survive in an industry that could either make you or break you. And even now, more than 2 decades after his death, his name still carries weight. His lyrics still hit just as hard. His impact hasn't faded one bit. In fact, if anything, his legend has only grown louder with time.
That was him. That was his niche. You know what I mean? That was his calling. It was nothing stopping him.
For his family, the pain wasn't just about losing him, it was about losing him in such a brutal public way, about having to relive that loss every time his name was brought up in a documentary, a news special, a tribute track, about never getting closure, never getting justice, just living with the fact that he was gone and there were no real answers. But for those who really knew him, for those who saw him come up, Big L was never just another rapper. He was a storyteller. Someone who didn't just rhyme for the sake of rhyming, but painted entire worlds with his words, who captured the grit and reality of Harlem in a way that made you feel like you were right there with him, walking the same blocks, seeing the same struggles, dodging the same dangers. His lyrics weren't just punchlines, they were lived experiences, unfiltered truths, stories that people could feel in their bones, and that's why even now, after all these years, people still play his music, still quote his lines, still debate where he ranks among the greats, because legends don't fade. They just keep echoing through time.
He just picked that up, that microphone, and that was him. That was his niche.
Big L was treacherous. Treacherous. Like, now you want to go back to like those earlier, like, great out of the ordinary things he's saying. Like, it's crazy, man, for real.
By the time the 90s started picking up speed, Big L was standing right at the edge of something massive, something that felt inevitable, like the whole hip-hop world was shifting, evolving into something bigger, and he was right there ready to carve out his own spot, ready to prove that he wasn't just another rapper trying to make it. He was something different, something special, something people would be talking about for years to come. His pen was razor sharp, his flow effortless, and his confidence unshakable. He wasn't afraid to say what was on his mind, to put his reality into words, to make sure that when people heard him spit, they felt every syllable deep in their bones. And then just when it seemed like the pieces were falling into place, he linked up with Diggin' and the Crates crew, DITC, this legendary collective made up of some of the hardest hitting rappers, producers, and DJs from the Bronx, the kind of group that could make or break an artist. And for Big L, it was like stepping into a whole new level of the game.
You mentioned Big L, so he was part of your group too.
That's right.
Man, back then, that's crazy.
Remember the group? He was the youngest member. He was funny, he was a knucklehead.
It wasn't just about spitting bars anymore. It was about refining his craft, about learning from the best, about surrounding himself with people who took hip-hop as seriously as he did. And it paid off, because by the time 1995 rolled around, everything was lining up exactly the way it was supposed to. That was the year he dropped Lifestyles of Da Poor and Dangerous, an album that wasn't just an introduction, it was a statement. This wasn't polished, radio-friendly rap. This was Harlem in its rawest form, unfiltered and unapologetic, straight from the streets to the speakers. He wasn't just talking about life in the city, he was bringing it to life with his words, painting pictures so vivid that if you closed your eyes, you could see everything he was describing. Every block, every hustle, every high, every low. Songs like Put It On and MVP proved that he had that rare ability to tell a story while riding the beat with a flow so smooth, it felt effortless. And while the album didn't skyrocket up the charts, the real heads knew what it was. Critics saw the genius behind it. Hip-hop purists recognized the skill, and just like that, Big L was cemented as one of the sharpest lyricists of his generation.
I got a rep to make police jet, known to get a pre-sweat. I never beg for like Keith Sweat.
But what really set him apart wasn't just the technical side of his raps, it was the way he made every line count. He wasn't just rhyming for the sake of it. Every bar had weight, every punchline hit harder than the last. He had this way of twisting words, stacking metaphors, making even the simplest lines sound next level. Tracks like Street Struck showed his gift for storytelling, diving deep into the reality of street life. Not just the glamour of it, but the real consequences, the choices people had to make just to survive.
You never know when you're gonna get wet. This mad clowns be catching wreck with a tech just to get a rep.
His music wasn't just about Harlem, it was about struggle, about ambition, about what it meant to fight for something bigger than the block you grew up on. And then there was Devil's Son, a track that was so ahead of its time, so dark, so boundary pushing, that it would go on to influence what would later be known as horrorcore rap.
L's a rebel, on a higher level, go get the seven.
It was aggressive, controversial, something that made people do a double take when they heard it, proving that Big L wasn't just following the blueprint, he was bending it, rewriting the rules, taking hip-hop places people hadn't even thought to go yet.
No, Big L was that. Big L really, I don't like that they gave him his flowers at.
But no matter how much recognition he was getting, no matter how many people were calling him the next big thing, Big L never lost that hunger. He stayed in the battle rap scene, sharpening his skills, proving over and over again that he wasn't just some studio rapper. He could go bar for bar with anyone, anywhere, anytime. He never got comfortable, never got complacent. He knew that hip-hop wasn't just about making hits. It was about proving yourself, about earning respect, about showing up, and reminding people why your name belonged in a conversation. By the mid-90s, Big L's name was everywhere. He wasn't just some underground rapper anymore. He was making moves, working with big names, and proving he was more than just hype. It wasn't just about making music. It was about making a statement, keeping real lyricism alive while the industry was chasing hits. Among the legendary moments that defined Big L's career, one that still gets talked about to this day is his rap battle with none other than Jay-Z. That legendary face-off wasn't just any rap battle. It was the kind of moment that hip-hop fans still talk about like it happened yesterday.
I read about you battling Big L, and yeah, did that actually happen?
Yeah, it happened on the block.
It wasn't just about who had the better bars, it was a meeting of two lyrical giants, a clash of raw talent and razor-sharp wordplay set right in the heart of Harlem. The streets that raised Big L became the stage for a showdown that would go down in history. People who were lucky enough to witness it firsthand remember an intense back and forth. Both MCs going all in, pushing each other to new heights. No official winner was ever declared, but it didn't matter. What mattered was the respect earned that day. Jay-Z, already making waves in the industry, met his match in Big L, whose rapid-fire delivery and effortless wit left an undeniable impression. This battle wasn't just a moment, it was the beginning of a relationship built on mutual admiration and a shared love for the craft.
Rest in peace, Big L, right? That whole day was weird. Okay. Because Hov came and got me. I was in high school.
Wait, Hov
picked me up.
But Jay-Z wasn't the only one who recognized Big L's talent. Across the hip-hop world, artists saw something special in him. His connections to the DITC crew gave him a solid foundation, but he never boxed himself in. He was always looking to collaborate, always down to mix styles and experiment with sounds. To him, hip-hop wasn't just about making music, it was about elevating it, about pushing limits and seeing what could be done when creative minds came together. Big L wasn't just respected, he was also a mentor. He took younger artists under his wing, sharing the game with them, guiding them the way only someone who had lived it could. His influence stretched far beyond his own music. He inspired a whole generation of rappers who saw in him the perfect balance of skill, authenticity, and hustle. And then came Lifestyles, Oved Up Poor and Dangerous, the album that truly put him on the map. Dropping in 1995, it was as real as it gets. Gritty, unapologetic, and filled with the kind of sharp lyricism that set him apart. Songs like Put It On and MVP showed the world what Harlem already knew. Big L wasn't just good, he was something special.
I'm making 36, step to this, your good is gone. Word is born, I leave mics torn when I put it on. He's in past the stealth, make it quick, money grip, oh your is out in a street brawl.
Critics loved it, hip-hop heads praised it, and it quickly became a cult classic. But despite all that, the album didn't blow up commercially. It debuted at number 149 on the Billboard 200. Not bad, but not the breakout success it should have been. A big part of the struggle, the industry itself. Big L's label, Columbia Records, didn't quite know what to do with him. His raw, unfiltered storytelling didn't fit neatly into their mainstream vision, and the tension between them grew. Eventually, he made the tough call to part ways with Columbia. A move that, while risky, set him on a path to doing things his own way. Despite the setbacks, Lifestyles Off Da Poor and Dangerous left a lasting mark. It wasn't just another rap album, it was a piece of hip-hop history. It influenced the next wave of lyricists, proving that technical skill and storytelling still mattered in an era that was shifting towards mainstream appeal. And his willingness to push boundaries didn't stop there. His song Devil's Son is often credited as one of the earliest examples of horrorcore, showing that Big L wasn't afraid to take hip-hop into new territory.
He got stopped ahead of his time, you know? And then years later, you see people appreciating him more than...
Through it all, Big L stayed the same, hungry, driven, and dedicated to his craft. He didn't let industry struggles change him or water down his music. His debut album may not have been a commercial blockbuster, but it was a statement, a declaration, proof that pure, unfiltered lyricism could still shake the game. In hip-hop, Big L's death was yet another wake-up call about how fragile life can be, especially for artists trying to navigate the fine line between fame and the streets. His loss, along with the deaths of other rap legends, highlighted the harsh realities that often come with success in the industry. Still, his influence never faded. If anything, his legend only grew stronger in the years that followed. His albums, posthumous releases, and countless tributes have kept his name alive, introducing new generations to his lyrical genius. His influence can be heard in today's artists, many of whom see him as a blueprint for storytelling and rap. His unsolved Malcolm Dare remains a painful reminder of the many cases that never get closure, leaving families and communities without answers. The mystery still sparks discussions about justice, violence, and the struggles of young black men in inner cities. But in the end, Big L's legacy isn't just about the way he died, it's about the impact he made. His music, his style, and his voice continue to inspire, proving that true talent never fades. No matter what the story was, Big L will always be remembered as one of hip-hop's greatest. There you have it. Thanks for watching.